Hey there. So in this video, I just want to give some clarification about the eighth note rests and also the dotted quarter notes. Now, if you remember back on page 41, we did eighth note rests that went 1 and 2 and 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 1 and 2 and. The eighth note rest, that's one that looks kind of like a little 7, and it rests literally for a half of a beat, either on the number 1 or on the and. 1 or and. So when I look over at page 42 now, I'm going to have some eighth note rests, but also dotted quarter notes. So just to review the eighth note rest, if I look at number 173, that goes like this. Let me just tap out the rhythm for you. It goes 1, 2, 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and. This would actually be a very good one for knockout because we have quarter notes, eighth notes, eighth rests, dotted quarter notes, and half notes. So those are all completely different, and they all have to be played accurately. So thankfully this is all right on the D string to start with. So let me just play it for you. Here's number 173. This is all on the D string. 1 and 2. 1, 2, 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and. We have a long slow bow at the end. Let me break down a couple of these measures. Number 3, measure number 3, that's a dotted quarter note. That gets a beat and a half, so it's 1 and 2 and. So you have to change on the and. So 1 and is a full beat, 2 is the half beat, and then we change on the end of 2. 1 and 2 and. Not quite a half note, but it's longer than a quarter. 1 and 2 and. And that sounds like this. 1 and 2 and. All right, so there's measure 3. Measure 2 is kind of like that, but the quarter note is not quite as long. It's a quarter note. 1 and rest, and. Because I rest on beat 2. 1 and rest, and. It sounds like this. 1 and 2, and. Listen to the difference again. Here's measure 2. 1 and 2, and. Here's measure, actually that was measure 4 that I demonstrated earlier. Let me correct that. For correction, that's measure 4, not measure 3. Here's measure 4 then again. 1 and 2 and. So it's long. 1 and 2 and. Measure 2, 1 and rest, and. It's a subtle difference, but it's in there. Here's all of 173 again. 1, 2, 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1. Alright, so let's look at 174. I have quarter notes, and then a dotted quarter, and that gets 1.5 again. So it's 1, 2, 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 1, 2. Now I have some slurs. 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 1. This is very smooth, very connected, and it sounds like this. Here's 174. 1 and 2. And 2 and 1 and 2. Number 175. Now we're in 3/4 time. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That repeats. There's a lift and you can repeat it. All right, then 176. Let's look at that one. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2. 176. notice the slurs at the end. Okay, so there are some dotted quarter notes along with regular quarters, eighth notes, and things like that. Remember, a dotted quarter gets 1.5 beats. Think of it like this: 1 and 2, and then you have to change on the and of 2, or maybe rest on the and of 2, depending on how it's written. But all of these they go 1 and 2 and. All right, have fun with that. Dotted quarters.